Things that look absolutely crazy under a microscope. Number one is the difference between beard hairs cut by a razor, which you see on the left, or cut by an electric razor, which you see on the right. Number two is the skin of a sea cucumber. You see a lot of anchors and hooks, and I think it's really funny that this is actually real since it lives in the ocean. Number three is alcohol. Now there's actually a company that takes your favorite beverage, they crystallize it, and then they look at it under a microscope, and this was one example of that, and they have a ton of others. Number four is sand. You can see each individual little particle, whether it's rocks, minerals, or different smaller organisms. Number five is Velcro, and it's really cool to see this with the little hooks and all the little fibers and how it actually works. Things that look crazy under a microscope, part two. Number one is grass, and it's kind of creepy because it looks like they're smiling and laughing at you, but not in a good way. Number two is the head of a tapeworm, and this thing is absolutely frightening. It looks like a skull with the eyes and mouth on fire. Number three are these little red icicle things, and this is actually a human tongue, but very close up, and it's a little unsettling. Number four is Coca-Cola, but super close up. You can see all the little crystals and what it actually looks like in the structures. Number five will probably give you nightmares because it looks straight out of a sci-fi movie, but these are the eyes of a digger wasp, and very, very creepy. Things that look absolutely crazy under a microscope, part three. Number one is slightly disturbing, but it's a close-up of two weevils, which are a type of beetle, getting it on. Please don't flag this video for this. Number two, now it's not what it looks like. Number two is the hole in your skin left from a needle after an injection. Now this is microscopic, but it is still there and you can see it under a microscope. Number three is vitamin C under the microscope, and this just looks psychedelic and pretty cool. Number four is the human eye, and it's crazy all the little strands and things you can actually see in the eye when it's zoomed in that far. Number five is the human muscle, and it's crazy how you can see each kind of strand and fiber of the muscle. Things that look really crazy under a microscope, part four. Number one is the ridge of a human fingerprint. Now this just looks like something that's the surface of another planet. Number two are the cells inside a mouse's retina inside their eye, and this looks like an artist's drawing of like a starry night. Number three is a scab, and you can see it starting to form over the blood cells in this picture. It almost looks like a netting for the blood, trying to catch it. Number four is chalk. Now, chalk looks pretty unique because it's little balls, and what chalk is actually made of is very microscopic exoskeletons of marine organisms. Number five is an iPhone 11 Pro Max screen, and you can see the different colors for the LCD display. And this pattern is a little different than normal LCD displays with some diamonds and the little dots in between. Really crazy looking things under a microscope, part five. Number one is a human egg and sperm trying to attach to it. Now it looks like a little mini sun with some strands coming off, and it's cool to see all the little almost swirls on the outside like they were swimming. Number two is sugar crystals inside of gelatin, and this just looks like an art piece, like a starry night piece. Number three is something probably all of us consume on a daily basis, and that is caffeine, and you can see all the little strands and fibers of it, and it looks incredibly cool. Number four is dust, and you can see all the different types of particles, the strands and whatnot in there. Number five is the human eyelash, and you can see all the little stems for the eyelashes and all the material and skin underneath them. Craziest looking things under a microscope, part six. Number one is a single algae cell dividing into two, and this picture is caught at the perfect moment where you can see it about to divide right in the center. Number two is a snowflake, and a fun fact about snowflakes most people have wrong is that not all snowflakes are unique. There's been a study showing that two snowflakes were exactly identical. Number three is the legs of a great diving beetle, and this just looks like a mosaic art piece. Number four are neurons in a brainstem. It looks very hectic with all the material underneath the little blobs. Number five is a dandelion. This close-up shows each individual floret of a dandelion. Craziest looking things under a microscope. Number one is vitamin C crystals. This is what it looks like when vitamin C is crystallized under a microscope, and it can also take on a lot of different variations of this that can look completely different. Number two is a solar panel. This is a close-up of the actual solar cell, and it looks absolutely crazy. Next is the human brain's wiring. This is a bird's eye view of the nerve fibers in a healthy human brain. Next is the reproductive parts of a plant. This is called a thale crest flower, and it shows the male and female reproductive parts of the flower. Next is a kidney stone. This is a kidney stone that has actually been removed from a human and put under a microscope.